Hello. We wondered here whether in this commercial age, if some firework manufacturer had made a cruise rocket, and jumped on the bandwagon, but apparently not. Although you can imagine the instructions on it, can't you? Like place in a neighbour's garden, light at arm's length on a moving vehicle, and stand well back, about 3,000 miles well back. There's been a lot of comment in the press this week about, the cruise missiles, Greenham Common business. And there are some strange anomalies that I've thought about. I mean, for instance, the government are allowing 96 missiles to be sighted next to the village to make it the most dangerous place in Britain to live. And the Greenham Common residents accuse the peace women of bringing the house prices down. Oh, they get it. And here's something else you may not realise. When Cruise does arrive, Greenham will not be the most dangerous place in Britain. When Cruise arrives, the most dangerous place to live in Britain will be Newport Pagnell. Why? Well, I'll tell you. It's like this, you see. The basis of Cruise is that when a nuclear attack is imminent, they load the missiles onto those massive great trucks and disperse them to key points around the country. Now, 72 of them have got to travel north, up the M1, where they have to negotiate the roadworks between junctions 12 and 14. Newport Pagnell. Now, it takes a motorcyclist 48 hours to get through that. So at the start of hostilities, the Russians give it a few hours, for the trucks to get there, bomb Newport Pagnell and wipe out 75% of Cruise. And if they get lucky and hit the motorway service cafe, the fallout will be horrendous. Somebody must be making a fortune printing car stickers. They're everywhere, aren't they? I just find it odd that manufacturers spend large amounts of money on sort of sleek, eye-catching designs for their models, and then drivers go and ruin it all by slapping I Love New York stickers all over it. And what makes me really bilious are those innuendo stickers that proliferate at the moment. Those things like windsurfers do it standing up. And subtle ones like young farmers do it in wellies. Well, they have to, because they're normally too pissed to take them off. And there's some very bad taste ones around as well, like tradesmen do it round the back. Burglars do it up drain pipes. Undertakers do it with stiffs. In hearses.
Right, sorry.
What really grasses me off, of course, is that comedians do it while people sit there and laugh. That's if you're good. I love talking about cars. There's so much humour involved with them. You can observe so many facets of human nature, particularly intolerance. We're all so intolerant when we're driving. Come on! You can get a double-decker bus through that gap! Or like, what the heck? Where's your white stick, mate? Stop your Labrador on the roof, he'll tell you what's coming! Or the classic, don't bother to signal, I'm clairvoyant! I've got a crystal ball here. Halfords. That's a thought. Whatever happened to CB radio? What a 9-day wonder that was. It's ever since they legalised it, it's sort of gone off the boil. I mean, it was all right when it was illegal, wasn't it? I mean, furtively using coded messages was all part of the fun. Now it's legal, it's all sort of faintly bobble-at time, isn't it? Yeah. Spending a couple of £100 to buy a radio to talk to someone who lives 50 yards up the road. Asking if Donald Duck can speak to Zorro in the gingerbread garden. white coat time, isn't it? Car owners always striving for individuality, you know, particularly those customised cars. You don't see women driving customised cars, do you? It seems to be a male-orientated obsession. It's probably because men identify their virility with their cars. They think that having a 5,000 brake horsepower twin carburettor Mustang means they've got an amazing sexual technique. What it actually means is that they're dickheads. I mean, they drive like they make love, you know. Ram the key in the ignition, rev the engine up like mad, shoot off at 80 miles an hour, run out of fuel before the girl does a seatbelt on. And some of them go to ridiculous lengths, don't they? I mean, it's like I find those customised cars really remarkable. You know, some boy racer who's just returned from Silverstone, where he's been watching blurred adverts dash by at 200 miles an hour. eating hot dogs, you know, with Castrol XLR. Decides he wants some of the action, so he buys a borderline MOT pass Ford Anglia, sprays it black and paints those flaming fire effects over the back wheel arches, drills a couple of holes in the exhaust, then he gets rid of the steering wheel, far too large, and replaces it with a leather-bound shirt button. Gives you that instant response, you know, incredibly sensitive, like tweak it 1/1000 of an inch and suddenly you're travelling south on the northbound carriageway. To complete the drag racer look, he puts very tiny wheels on the front and immense tractor wheels on the back. And he drives round like this, too. It's OK till he has to have an emergency brake and... Somebody help me, please! As you may know, my favourite funny car is the Citroen 2CV. The de chevaux, which I've likened to an upturned corrugated pram on wheels. Well, I came across this advert last week for a Citroen de chevaux. This is for real. It's wonderfully tongue-in-cheek. They've really got a sense of humour here. They actually admit that the 2CV does not come complete with a turbocharge or a cruise control. But 2CV does come with a complete set of fully round wheels, one on each corner for perfect mobility. Completely transparent windows for all-round visibility, and a central locking system. You can reach all the doors from the driver's seat. Well done, Citroen, well done. However, not to be outdone by the French, we have our own contender for a Wally car. The Reliant Robin three-wheeler. The Reliant Robin for people who can't afford a proper bike. You have to agree they're comical, aren't they? Like pootling down the road at 60 miles a week. You know? Every time you see one, there's an enormous tailback of pedestrians. Have you ever been in one? I was in one the other day. It had a compass on the dashboard. A compass? It can't go far enough to get lost. The ambition of every Reliant Robin owner is to get a speeding ticket. If they get one, they have it framed and stuck on the front window screen. That's why Reliant owners are always looking for speed traps at the bottom of steep hills. Gives them a chance to get some speed up, you know. And they're hurtling down, trying to slipstream a milk float. When they get down the bottom, they wind the window down and drive past the policeman going... The copper just watches him, you know. Sergeant. The chassis number. Fear, I suppose religion fear? I don't know. Fear plays such a major part in our lives. You know, the fear of authority affects everybody. I mean, if you're driving home at night and a police car's following you, I mean, no matter if you haven't had a drink for like 3 weeks, there's no way you can keep the car in a straight line, is there? When you're so scared you've done something wrong, you're weaving all over the road, checking your speed and your seatbelt. And when the cops are following you, you can't help but stare permanently in your rear-view mirror. It's like a moth to a light bulb, isn't it? I wonder what I've done. It's the library book. It's 2 weeks overdue. And then the cops know you're scared with us, and they don't bother to pull anyone up unless they're driving in a straight line. That's the only way they know you've been drinking, isn't it? In a straight line. The fear of prison is uppermost in most people's minds too. I mean, in Russia, they put you in special cells where you can't stand up or lie down properly. Over here, they put you into Barratt homes. There are... You live in them? Oh, OK. No, not me, no. There are lots of strange fears that you hardly ever hear about. There's Wogan phobia. It's the fear that every time you turn on the radio or the television or look in the newspaper, Terry Wogan won't be there. Where's he gone? Is the world still out there? I'll phone the operator. Oh, thank God it's you, Terry. Bus drivers suffer from queue phobia, which is why they're always driving past them. With our love of animals, I'm surprised bullfighting isn't one of our national sports. Imagine how we'd treat that. The bulls would have to wear advertising on the chest, you know, Frey Bentos, Mother Care. And the Sun would run competitions like Spot the Bull. They'd show a photo of a matador standing like this, and you've got to put a cross where you think the bull is. Some animals ask for it, though, don't they, eh? Hedgehogs. Bastards. For years, hedgehogs have been trying it on, playing dead in the road, hoping the car will stop so they can hijack it. Wise to that one. But then again, pigeons, unlike hedgehogs, have got the measure of cars. Have you ever run over a pigeon? It's impossible to, isn't it? I mean, you're hammering along 50 miles an hour and the pigeon's oblivious to you in the road, pecking away. And you reach it and you lose sight of it. It goes under the bonnet and you, yeah, I've got a pigeon! And you look in your rearview mirror and they're just strutting up there. But I suppose we're most familiar with animals in our relationship to them as pets. I mean, they do say people grow to look like their pets, which is probably why warthogs aren't too popular. And the reason Magnus Pike owns a gibbon. Where's Barbara Woodhouse these days? I miss her. She was always good for a giggle, wasn't she? I mean, she always said, if you want to get friendly with a horse, blow up its nose. Poor animal. Hey, can you imagine what it must have thought? Like, oh, here comes a friendly old biddy. Chance of a sugar lump here. What the? There was a move a while back, you know, to ban cars from all city centres and only allow horses. Would have gone down well in Birmingham, that. Eh? Leave your horse tied up in the bull ring and you'd come back to find someone's nicked its kneecaps. And left the poor beast on 4 bricks. Christmas is only 14 days away. And This is the time of year you know what it feels like to be a dissident in Russia. Waiting for the early morning knock on the door. Only over here, it's the dustman. Morning, Squire. Season's greetings from the 12 of us. Is this your cat, sir? He almost fell in the grinding gear at the back of the cart. Didn't he, lads? Or what's worse is, oh, come all ye faithful, ding dong. Hello? Carol singing, pal. Like to contribute? Well, you haven't sung very much, have you? All right. Ding dong, Mallory on iron, have no bells are ringing. All right. No, it's not all right. I'm not giving you a penny unless you're prepared to sing properly, OK? He wants a proper song, lads. Come on, you Spurs! There's so much cant and hypocrisy about Christmas. I mean, sending all those Christmas cards with the charity clearly printed on the back for all to see. You got them from a shop you wouldn't normally have gone into, but you wanted to avoid the lady walking down the street carrying the collecting tin. And you get cards with the name and address of the sender printed inside the card. The envelope has a computer printout address label on the outside, and it's been stamped with the firm's franking machine. And the message on the card says, sincere personal greetings. Christmas is the season of habits. Every year, you do the same things and you buy the same things. Every year, I always buy a bottle of Warnick's Advocaat. You know, that yellow gob. You have to buy it because there's always some wally aunt who wants a snowboard. It's such thick stuff, isn't it? I mean, yeah, have you ever dropped a bottle of Advocaat? The bottle smashes all over the place, but the Advocaat remains the same shape. Murderers use Advocaat. They beat the victim to death, then drink the evidence. Presents at Christmas are another bind. I mean, you can always spot a last-minute present a mile off, can't you? The only places open on Christmas Day are garages and Asian grocers. The times I've been given 24 sachets of windscreen wash or 10 pounds of mixed yams. And you get strange presents too. Last year, my mum bought me a plain V-neck grey sweater that was fluorescent. A day-glow grey. Remarkable. And there's a Christmas Day ritual that I and a few of my friends indulge in at the local boozer. We all turn up for the lunchtime session wearing all the outlandish clothes we've been given by fruitcake aunts and grannies who think you're still only 11 years old. And you see blokes wearing shirts with steam trains all over. A 6-foot sticks, 18-stone geezer wearing noddy slippers and a Zorro cap. Well, at least it sets you up to face the ordeal of Christmas lunch, doesn't it? Hey, that mountain of food you have to consume with a big, ridiculous purple paper hat on you. It's just like a contraceptive, isn't it? You know it helps to make the occasion, but you feel such a fool putting it on. And then you get the after-lunch games. Oh, Christmas games drive me up the wall, particularly card games. I mean, I love card games if they've got a bit of skill attached to them, you know, solo or whist. But the only game everyone knows at Christmas is pontoon. 21. I hate pontoon. I can't stand it. It's so bloody boring, isn't it? And every year we play it, and every year my missus forgets the rules. There's only 3 of them. It's always twist, twist, twist me another. Oh, another 5-card trick. Hey, not again. That's the 4th on the trot. Let's have a look at your card. You've bust. You've got 47. Yes, it's good, isn't it? I only had 39 last hand. And if there's one thing worse than pontoon, it's charades. Woo! Nobody ever remembers the proper sign language, do they? 2 syllables. Sounds like a book. It's always the same films and TV programmes. You have to guess. And the clues are about as subtle as a punch in the gob, aren't they? Grandad takes his teeth out. Jaws, yeah. Cold it's, yeah. Uncle Morris is given 20,000 leagues under the sea to mime, and he starts off by going, 1, 2, 3, 4. Charades always ends with Auntie Gwen trying to give clues to Gone with the Wind. She falls for it every year, doesn't she? She still hasn't twigged. It's so embarrassing. I mean, everyone knows what it is, but they don't want to let on. And Auntie Gwyn gets more frustrating and... Exodus. Leaving on a jet plane. Fart from a maddening crowd. You get to the point on Christmas Day where you quite look forward to the hangover on Boxing Day morning, don't you? And there are anomalies about Christmas that worry me. Not worry, they niggle me. Have them at the back of my mind. Well, I was thinking about that very first Christmas and the 3 wise men. So wise, someone says, "Hey, you 3, follow that star." Okay. Where to? Until it stops, of course. Okay. Off they go. Then they go and lash out what must have been a fair bit of bread on prezzies like gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Whatever myrrh is. I think it's Egyptian Scrabble. And they're so wise, they go and give it all to a couple of strangers who are so poor they've just had the first nipper in a bar. Now then, what puzzles me is this. What happened to the gold? I mean, if I'd have been JC's dad, right? Drafty old boy, I'd have booked straight into the Bethlehem Hilton. Hey, what do you mean, no room at the Hilton? I'll buy it! Anything to get out of that barn and away from those nutty star followers. What did he do with the gold? Maybe he gave it to the shepherds to get rid of them. What a bunch of crazies they must have been. Bursting into the stable getting, "Hey, where's Mary and Joseph? An angel with big wings and glowing and everything told us to get out here and say hello." I'd have given them the gold and the myrrh. Anything, get him into the boozer next door and buy him around. What a first Christmas day for Jesus. Wacky wise men and sozzled shepherds staggering all over a drafty old barn. "Don't complain, son," says Joseph. "If you think this is bad, wait till the rabbi comes round with the knife."